climbing out. Any moment now you see a trail of smoke. It's getting stable before they actually pull their parachute. Once you've pulled the parachute, you're going to make sure that your canopy, you've got a good canopy above your head. And then you'll be getting into that famous stack of the Royal Air Force Falcon. So they're all looking at Mike Maguire at this stage. That's Flight Sergeant Mike Maguire from Nottingham. His second tour of duty with the team. He's on the team of 2006 to 8. And he was on as a sergeant. He returned as the flight sergeant and the team coach. I'll put this to the radio. Go to hear Mike guiding his team down. Look at the flagman. The flagman is Sergeant Dave Warboy. Some down on the right, you'll go right. Pull down on the left, you'll go left. Let's see if we can get Mike back to you again, guiding his team down.
Right now. Rolling up now. Turning back on myself now. Shooting my target now.
So ladies and gentlemen, as they land, Flight Sergeant Mike Maguire from Nottingham, Sergeant John Parker from Gainsborough in Lincolnshire.
Here, slow and fast.
Yeah, wow. The sound comes after it.
690 miles an hour. Flown for us today by Flight Lieutenant Jamie Norris, known as Norris. Newcastle upon side, so is it Geordie.
Great fire.
Slowing down a bit now. An outside turn, he's on the outside of that. Being a huge success, this aeroplane. It's going to be the future of the Royal Air Force along with the Joint Strike Fighter. So this will be serving well on into the century. And he's coming by for another of those high alpha, high angle of attack flybys. He can't see where he's going at the moment because the aircraft is cocked up to such a degree. Just holding the height with the throttles on the engines. And in a moment he's going to put the power on and accelerate into the vertical. Now look to your right. And look at the Battle of Britain Memorial fighters arriving. Airplanes like to take off and land into wind. Means they've got more air flowing over their wings, giving them more lift for less ground speed. So that's why they do that. Spitfire coming into land first. This is a Mark 19 Spitfire. You can see it says the last on the nose because it represents the aircraft that threw the last ever Spitfire. Parkinson flying the Spitfire. And once those two magnificent RAF fighters have turned off the runway, I think we shall be seeing the Russians taking off. And here comes the BBMF Hurricane. See YPW on the side. 30-foot wingspan, so more or less square. You'll get to see the platform shape on all sorts of occasions during the display. Bits of them are made of titanium. See, they do have retractable undercarriage, well it's on semi-retractable, it folds flat under the wing. We join the Mert display in with agricultural sound. So there they go, you see that very distinctive cruciform look, quite large aircraft. We've gone over in a complete loop with Mark Rixa in the lead. So there's the smoke coming on, so to make it easy for us to pick them out in the sky. Now as they do this, the guy right out on the right wing is on full power, the guy on the left is on idle. Keep the formation shape exactly right. As they do that quarter clover maneuver, they change the direction of their flight to 90 degrees and they'll do it again. So when they switch off the smoke like that, that means that's the end of that specific maneuver. The swing over is what they call this maneuver. Just a way of reversing your direction. Back onto the main display axis, so here starts the next maneuver, the arrow loop. Now watch number 6 at the back, Dave Boardman, as they go over the top of the loop. Well, you're very welcome to keep watching him, but he didn't depart, he just departed. Now I think he's going to start with the tail slide, but I'm not sure about that. Looks a bit like it. The aircraft's slowing right down, it's stationary, it's actually falling backwards into his own smoke. A perfect tail slide. Very difficult to control an aircraft to do that, requiring great skill. Four-ship formation, there he goes. Still Ansel, barrel rolling round the smoke trail. What a lovely sight that is. The shadow of the aircraft in the front of the smoke trails. And as they go over this loop, I'm looking for Dave Boardman to come to appear from somewhere to catch up with them. It will be what's called a flag join. Done a loop and he's now going significantly faster than them, but he will decelerate as he gets back into his box position. They're extraordinarily reliable, the Aerostars. They've only ever cancelled one display because of bad weather. And there is the Chevron 6. And one final manoeuvre coming up. They'll position on the far side of the airfield once they get themselves into position and head back towards us. Final break coming up. One of the crew, Sergeant Pete Wood, they're going to drop him so that he is going to act as a survivor, and then they're going to go and pick him up, find him. Its rotor is 62 feet diameter, not quite a cricket pitch, so that's pretty big. 2 engines, 2 Rolls-Royce engines. So on the aircraft. I think we can hear from the co-pilot on board, Flight Lieutenant Dave Wells.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the crew of Sierra Romeo Golf 122, the Seeking Mark 3 from our Valley. We'll simulate the recovery of an ejectee from the sea. Initially, we'll drop off our ejectee, which deploys smoke to help assist the wind with it.
So you can see that smoke on the airfield there. To do that, the helicopter blowing all that air down and blowing the survivor away just as you're trying to pick them up. So as Dave, or is it Mark, said, the helicopter climbs, and the skill of it is to keep the winch cable at about the right height. 240 feet long at its maximum height is that cable. They regularly end up using quite a lot of it, especially in the mountains. Brassington, who's actually the CO of the flight. 22 Squadron is one of the 2 search and rescue squadrons, and they have flights dispersed around the country. This is virtually the end there, a courteous bow, a courtly bow from the Westland Seeking of Sea Flight 22 Squadron. And of course, our next display item is the BAC Jet Province T5A, flown by a man whose call sign is Crazy. Squadron leader Dan. I think as he comes towards us, we'll see him pulling up into a loop. School on it. That was part of the centenary celebrations. Really, he is in control of that. It says here. Amazing little aeroplane, the Piper Cub. Bought out by W.G. Piper in 1937. But it's so popular they started building them again in 1988. Oh, Brendan, don't do that. I was talking to him at supper last night. He promised he wouldn't do any of this stuff. the landing. It's about 8 feet wide, this trailer. Only 4 inches wider than the undercarriage of the aeroplane. It's 28 feet long, and that's only 2 feet longer than the cub. So the question is he going to get down on it? I can't even see whether he has or not. Could you people get out of the way? Oh, thank you. No, he can't have done it because I see he's got airborne again. Some little fireworks. But of course he's got quite a good smoke system. The fireman is Alex Gorman. The vicious angle, 55. He's at 55 miles an hour, which is about the speed that the aircraft would be landing at. So this looks possible. Disappear behind the tent. No. Nope, he decided against it that time. This is a bit of willy-wonky, really. 50. It's now travelling at 55 miles an hour behind that big Ford Explorer estate with a 4-litre engine. And there's Brendan sort of hovering above it. I think he's got the wheels on it, has he? He's got the wheels on it. Looks like it. And he's moved up the trailer, and the aircraft is now clamped to the trailer. Bear in mind that the trailer is only 2 feet longer than the aircraft and only 2 inches on either side wider than the aircraft. Well, he's still got the engine running. I suppose that means he might be thinking of taking off. This is what you call an earworm. You'll be singing this for the rest of the day. Thanks, Jonathan. 40 miles an hour. The clamps are off. The aeroplane is just sitting on the trailer. And there he is, airborne. Hooray! Well done, that man. It really is quite an extraordinary show. And as we suggested, he is completely balmy. You can hear him contributing from commentary boxes around the country as well. That's a complete figure 8 in the sky. But anyway, look how big the manoeuvres are, big wide manoeuvres. Remember what the typhoon looked like earlier? Everything was done very tightly. Ja, direkt uit de winterberg. Ik had de deur gehad. Hier komt het met de jouw maar de deur dat het hier staat. Ja, hoe did it? Ja, ik denk ja, ik heb het eerste gedaan. Deze kant. Exactly, right up a single figure 8. Memorial flight formed as the historic aircraft flight at Biggin Hill in 1957. Started with one Hurricane, actually the Hurricane we're going to receive today, 3 Mark 19 Spitfires. Then they got to Lancaster, and they ironically changed the name to the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. So here they are, the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. On, and he would put a flying glove on the cockpit combing, and he made sure it stayed there throughout the whole of the row. So here they are, the Lancaster, Spitfire, and the Hurricane. Caught a glint off the Spitfire's paintwork on the far side of the airfield, just off the wingtips there. And here come the other two. And here she is, the Spitfire Mark 19 in the hands of Parky Parkinson. And there it is, the classic victory roll of the Hurricane returning from the sortie. And in comes the Lancaster from the right. Note those KCA markings, and you will see the nose arc of the aircraft. The nose arc is Pumper Mark III. That is open there. But where what was a very modest man spoke about the dam's raid itself. Here's what he said on the Canadian radio broadcast in 1944.
The time when you really face death, normally you don't know when you're going to die. You always think that it will not happen to you, but that raid on the dam is the one time when you knew that you were going to die or not die. The hair was hanging on our life was very good. And then there's just a feeling of funny ecstasy that comes from not right.
Guy Gibson, BC, talking in a very rare interview about the dams raid. 7,377 were built, and 3,349 of those were lost on operations. Think about that. That's 45% of these extraordinary bombers lost on operations. Crew of 7. Pilot, flight engineer, navigator, observer, nose gunner, bomb aimer, wireless operator, mid-upper gunner, and tail gunner. Here she is, with the wheels down, with the fighters catching her up. Command as a whole, 126,000 aircrew flew into battle with the average age of 22, and of those, more than 58,000 died, 46% of them, so you had a nearly 1 in 2 chance whether you survived when you were flying in Bomber Command. Their total fatalities amounted to 1 in 7 of the total service casualties. But at least now we have a Bomber Command memorial in London. How wonderful it is. HM the Queen said those who died gave their tomorrow so that we could enjoy our today. But perhaps the best description of the Lancaster came from Sir George Edwards, the grand old man of British aviation, who died in 2003. He said, an aircraft designed by engineers, by craftsmen, for heroes, to fly.
Prince Harry is also known as Captain Wales in the RAF, and he is a qualified Apache pilot, and as such is a member of the Apache helicopter display team. For security reasons, his presence is not usually advertised in advance.
You're in for a great view of this aircraft now as it does a 270-degree wing over away from the crowd. It almost looks like the aircraft. This is a very complex manoeuvre where the pilot is using all of the controls at the same time, flying the aircraft forwards, backwards and sideways whilst moving down the airfield.
And whilst they move down the airfield, you could perhaps look and see whether you can recognise Captain Wales from the back cockpit. He is in the back cockpit, David?
He's in the front, sir.
Oh, he's in the front?
He is indeed. I'm sure he's waving. If the crowd are giving him a big wave, I'm sure he'll wave back.
in case nobody, in case there's anybody who hasn't realised who Captain Wales is.
As the aircraft now departs away to Crowd Centre, you get a great view of the back of the aircraft. You can see all the weapons, all the cannon underneath, and you get a great view of it now as it goes back up into the sky into a 90-degree nose up. Here comes another roller coaster for the crew. With a twist this time.
The very first roll by a helicopter that you may have seen this year. And there you go, that was intended. It looks as though it's falling out of the sky. In fact, it looks very, very uncomfortable, but that is what helicopters do. When you do unusual things to them, because of course they're not really designed to do that, as they're not designed to go upside down right now. Coming into what is effectively a helicopter half human there, you see that the tail doesn't invest a great rate on the flight, and correcting that is a piece of quite interesting ergonomics in the cockpit. The Lynx helicopter has of course been the mainstay of operations of the Army Air Corps for the last 30 years and is still used today in its variant as a Mark 9 in Afghanistan. And Eddie and Alex there just throwing in another bit to reposition out on what we call the B-axis, flying away from you. 671 Squadron at Middle Wallop is the main training and what we call conversion to type squadron. A lovely pedal turn being put in position there whilst repositioning again. And during the course of their work, Eddie Brown is involved in converting pilots to the Mark 7 before going on to their squadron duties, whilst Alex is the recruiting officer until quite recently taking up a new job. Now, here's the time to keep an eye on this helicopter, because right now in the signature movement for the Army Air Corps and the past history of the Blue Eagles, stand by with your cameras to be amazed. Boys and girls, the backflip. Okay, we're back to the flying again. Here we are now with Eddie and Alex repositioning. What Eddie is doing all the flying, and Alex in the other seat is actually monitoring all the temperatures and pressures and power settings to ensure that during this flying, that the aircraft stays absolutely safe and flyable. Going into a 90-90 now, again at due time, all the power is the cycling right back to get into that position and then pushing it right in. Pulling the cycling back and levelling off. If you missed it the first time, boys and girls, here's your opportunity to see for a second time. Just getting everything now, taking the T, making sure it's safe. Stand by for the backflip.
Has called the team into short diamond formation, as you see. Reds 8 and 9 tuck in to form the famous Diamond 9 trademark Red Arrow shape. Red 1 is squadron leader Jim Turner, and it's his second year leading the team. He was a wingman with the Red Arrows from 2005 to 2007 and led the Synchro pair. He's a former Jaguar weapons instructor and Jaguar display pilot. And more recently, he was working with the Royal Saudi Air Force's equivalent to the Red Arrows, where he was their official advisor.
delegates out. All right. Pull. Very tight. Very. Eagle. Hang.
Smoke's on now. The wings are dropping back to form the shape of eagle, which depicts the plan form of the American fighter jet, the F-15 Eagle. We've introduced this to display as a commemoration to the support of the Eagle Roll. Now boys and girls, as they come canopy on, the pilots can see you waving, so get your arms up, lots and lots of waving. We fly the majority of our formations with the odd-numbered pilots on the left-hand side and the even-numbered pilots on the right. Red 6 and 7, the synchro pair, tend to sit in line astern behind the leader. On the bottom of the formation now is Red 4, Flight Lieutenant Martin Pert. Martin's in his second year with the team and is the team's executive officer. He's a former Hawk flying instructor and solo Hawk display pilot. And operationally, he flew the Harrier GR9 flying over Afghanistan. The smoke goes off now. The wings have dropped back even further to form the iconic shape of Concorde. And as they come left, some red, white and blue to show the very best of British.
Now.
This year is the 70th anniversary of Operation Chastise, the famous Dam Busters raid carried out by 617 Squadron on the night of the 16th of May 1943. Those brave men of 617 Squadron flew their 19 Lancaster bombers deep into enemy territory to carry out the raid. 617 Squadron still operate today, flying the Tornado GR4 from RAF Lossiemouth. The smoke goes off now in commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the Dam Busters. This is Lancaster. Jets here about 5 to 6 feet apart as they fly the Apollo roll.
Roll.
Now is another of our first year pilots. That's Red 2, Lieutenant Ollie Parr. Smoke comes back on now as the team form the shape Typhoon, aimed to depict the delta wing platform of the Royal Air Force's multi-role combat aircraft, the Eurofighter Typhoon. We now have 4 frontline squadrons of Typhoons, whose duty it is to protect the airspace of the UK and the Falkland Islands on quick reaction alert. Into the left now, they put on for the Typhoon. One of our pilots is a former Typhoon pilot. Red 9 is moving across to the far side of the formation, flying Typhoon. The jets have slowed down to about 150 miles an hour now, as they now accelerate to the bottom of this loop in a shape called Signet.
Out. Rolling. Out. And roll.
Descend from around 2,500 feet and move back into 9 arrow formation as they set up to start the second half of the Red Arrows display. And as they roll out directly to the front, get your cameras ready for a new manoeuvre for 2013 to start the second half of the display.
Hello.
go left in the 5-4 split. Wing of the Lancaster we flew over, so I can talk a little bit more about 617 Squadron now. The squadron was formed in March 1943, only 2 months before the Dam Busters raids took place, and they took off from our reserve squadrons. The RAF Reserves are a very useful supplement to the regular RAF forces. And if you're interested in joining the RAF Reserve, please visit their stand here at the RAF Village or Google RAF Reserve. These 4 jets descend now to just 100 feet, closing at over 800 miles an hour. Get your cameras ready for the amazing Jippo Pass. Synchro pair slingshot out to the front, look to your left for Enid. For a lone jet who is red 9. Get your cameras ready as he flies in between Enid for the Goose.
Where is he? Where is he? Here.
Seen a panel hanging down from the back of the stern at 5G. Smoke comes on as the jets reach a height of around 8,000 feet to draw Synchro's heart. But the Red Arrows would like to dedicate this heart to a girl who has her 12th birthday today. Becky Kerwin, this is for you. And we hope you have a very happy birthday. Top left of the heart is Red 8, the team Cupid, who is drawing a spear. Looking left and right again for the synchro pair, who descend back down to 100 feet to fly the double rolls. Twist this loop through 90 degrees in a manoeuvre known as a quarter clover. Now get your cameras ready for the good bit, ladies and gentlemen. This is the vertical brake. Left and right again for the synchro pair. Nearly 4,500 public displays in 54 countries. This year it's the Red Arrows' 49th display season. It's estimated that over 2 million people get to see a Red Arrows display every year. And last year, for our flypast over the London Olympic opening ceremony, the global audience was in excess of 1.4 billion people. Upside down in line astern formation as Reds 8 and 9 roll around them in the corkscrew. outside of the formation in the rollbacks. To complete their own rolls is their Jippo break.
Look at this. Wow.
We are the Royal Air Force aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. Ready for the last time here this year at RAF Cosford, the Royal Air Force aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. Chinook display team.
That's it for me.
All will now perform the seesaw, a manoeuvre made up of two opposed pedal turns, similar to stall turns in the fixed-wing world. It is well known that the Chinook makes an incredible sound while in flight, and this will be ably demonstrated. All the aircraft carries out its next manoeuvre before it flies.
She doesn't normally have smoke. An indication of how easy to handle the Vulcan is. You can go this slowly to keep position with these two little aircraft. And they're making more noise than we do. Co-captain is Bill Barnes. Third member of the crew is the electronics officer Bill Davis. Now they will do a little teardrop sort of in front of us. With its Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 202 engines, 16,400 pounds of static thrust from each of them. So that's getting on for 70,000 pounds of static thrust in total. She's not using, but she's only using a tiny proportion of that as we speak. I was saying about Roy Chadwick, the Lancaster designer. He drew this picture in 1946, that's only 5 years after the Lancaster first flew, of the aeroplane that recognisably is this aeroplane today. And even more interestingly, if you stretch it by 3/4 along its length, you get recognisably Concorde, because Vulcan is a predecessor, an antecedent of Concorde. Concorde also had Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus engines. Also rather different ones.
Conceived in 1947, 134 Vulcans were eventually built, and they only went to war once, and that was in the Falklands conflict of 1982. 106 foot from nose to tail and a wingspan of 111 foot, her top speed is 647 miles an hour. XH558, a Mark II version, joined the RAF on the 1st of July 1960, and she was retired in 1993 when she went into private ownership. In 1997, a project team started to restore her to flying ability, and on the 18th of October 2007, she took to the air for the first time in 15 years. In October 2012, the trust who owned her decided that 2013 would be the last flying year for this aircraft due to flying fatigue. And so, unless things change dramatically, this could be one of the Vulcan's last flights.
When she was a nuclear bomber carrier,